Have you ever had a moment that made you stop and think, wait a minute, this shouldn't be possible? Maybe your phone rang and it was somebody that passed away, or you saw something or someone glitch, like an actual real life glitch, just for a split second. Well, tonight we're diving into the strange, the eerie, and the unexplained. These stories will have you questioning if we're really living in a simulation or if the veil is a lot thinner than what we think. What's good? What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl, Luna Nova, and I'm back with another one for y'all today. And of course, here on the Mystic Muse, we dive into the strange, the eerie, and the unexplained, and the straight up paranormal. All the spooky people, places, and things. Y'all know how we do over here. And in tonight's compilation, we're going to go over some really interesting things. Tonight, we're going to explore the unsettling realm of glitches in the Matrix, ghostly encounters, y'all know we love those, and calls from beyond the grave. These are real life stories that blur the line between life and death, illusion and truth. Whether you're listening in the dark or watching with the lights on, go ahead and grab you a drink, grab you a snack, and let's go ahead and settle in for this creepy compilation. Only if you dare.
My grandfather called me on the day of his funeral. All right, y'all. So my grandfather, he passed in like 2020. His name was David. We used to call him Grandpa Dave. So the last time I saw him, we went to the casino. I believe we was at the boat in like Indiana or something like that. So I remember he was showing me how to like play the slots, whatever. First we had like a nice little dinner, whatever, and then we went right to the slots. So he was like, all right, grandson, I'm gonna show you how to play these slots. He was like, we're gonna take a 20, whatever. He was like, you gotta put a little bit extra in there, whatever, sometimes. So, you probably hit. So he put the 20 in there. He was like, okay, cool. If you get all these rows, there's one row of like some diamonds, you'll get an okay amount of money. If you get all of these rows, maybe of, some hearts, you'll get some kind of money. He was like, but these treasure chests are worth the most. I looked at him and I swear to God, I was like, okay, so what if you get all 4 of these lines, all treasure chests? Y'all, he looked me dead in the eyes and said, you'll win a lot of money. And the machine was like, ding, 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 ding. Hit off, y'all. I swear to God, it hit instantly. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So he gave us all some money, whatever, paid us out, whatever, got his money. It was great. Y'all, that was the last time I saw him. Fast forward, his funeral, which was in 2020. So I remember I'm sitting in the car. I'm about to get ready to go to the funeral. And I just like got like the last of my stuff, maybe like a tie or something like that. And we finna get ready to go. And I get a call. And on the phone, it said David Casino. Y'all, I think I picked up and I just remember nobody saying nothing. And it was just static. I'm like, David Casino. Like, so I just remember the call disconnecting. And I tried to call back. And it was my little sister. Like, and I'm like, what? I'm like, Mecca? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, did you call me? She was like, no. I'm like, then how did I get a call from you? And it said David Casino. And then the most freakiest part, y'all, I swear to God on my life, like the freakiest part was it didn't even say that no more when I look back at the call log. Y'all, Freaky Friday. And I remember, and I told that story at his funeral. I told the story and nobody in the funeral, I don't even think really believed me. I remember I even told my dad, I was like after my dad was like, he was like, yeah, that was a cool story. I was like, no, like that happened for real. Like, I don't even know if he believed me, y'all, but I swear to God. And I feel like that was him, trying to give me a story or something to say, like when I got there, because everybody knew when I started talking about him in the casino, he loved going to the casino. That was his thing. He made money. He worked at the railroad. He liked to spend money. He got money. Y'all, look, tell me if I might be tripping, chat.
It's Appalachia Spooky Story Time, y'all, and this story is very different than my others, which is exactly why I chose it, and I want to know what you all think about it. This story comes from one of my followers named Katie. It is pretty terrifying. If you are scared easily and you're watching this at night, I would just save it and wait until the morning. Katie said she grew up in the Midwest, but when she was in 7th grade, her family moved to Western North Carolina. It was her dad, her mom, her sister, and her. Katie said that they moved into this very old farmhouse, and even though it was an older farmhouse, it was quite big. And she said that they had a lot of woods back on the property. There was some field areas where there was some farmland, things like that. But directly from her room, because she was on the 2nd story, she had a window and she could see out into the back of the woods. Just a few feet into the woods, there was an old shed, and she could see the shed from her bedroom window. She said the shed always kind of creeped her out a little bit because it was old, it was back in the woods, and just gave her weird feelings. But she noticed almost every evening her dad would go out into the shed. Sometimes he would only be out there for a few minutes, and then sometimes he would be in this shed for like hours and had no idea what he was doing. She said occasionally she would look out her window and would see lights on in the shed, and so she knew her dad was in there. One morning she looked out her window and there was a big padlock that had been added on to the shed. She thought this was really odd, so she asked her dad about it, and her dad basically told her and her sister that he put the padlock on there to keep people from breaking in because he had some tools that were stolen out of the shed. But then as he was going to leave, he looked back at her and her sister and was like, "Yeah, I don't ever want you all going near that shed." They're like, "Why? What's up with the shed?" And he was like, "Don't ask questions. I'm your dad. Just listen to me. I don't want you all near the shed." Here's where things get really odd though. She said one evening she saw her dad go down to the shed. That was pretty normal. She goes to bed, but in the middle of the night she wakes up because she hears her mom screaming her dad's name. She wakes up and she's like, "Mom, what is going on?" And she's like, "I can't find your dad. He never came back from the shed." Mom was like, "I'm gonna go check the shed. You girls just stay in here and I will be right back." Then just a matter of minutes, her mom comes running back through the door and calls an ambulance because she had found her husband slumped over in the shed. While they're waiting on the ambulance, all three of them run out to the shed and they're with the dad while he is just like slumped over. He is alive, but he's just not acting right. The ambulance gets there and they say only one person can ride in the ambulance with the dad, so the wife went and she told the daughters just to wait at the house and to take the day off school. Guys, this is so weird. After they leave to go to the hospital, the two girls stay and they're like looking in the shed and there's nothing in there. You know how she said she always saw a light on in the shed? There was no electricity in the shed. There was no lanterns, no electricity. It said hanging on the walls, there was like bird feathers and some rabbit feet. And there was like a small work desk with a few carving knives and a notebook. She said when she opened up the notebook, she saw her father's handwriting in there, but then on other pages, the handwriting was completely different. And it was all just like mumbled jargon that she couldn't understand. And then written in the floorboards were like carvings of different symbols. Some of them looked very fresh. Some of them looked super, super old. Her and her sister were super freaked out, felt very unsettled, and just went back into the house. Her dad was eventually discharged from the hospital and was diagnosed with having a stroke. So he came home, he had to walk with a cane, but ultimately was okay. She told her mom about what she found in the shed, so the mom confronted the dad. Apparently the dad just wouldn't talk about it. He just shut down, would not talk about what was in the shed. She said she started to hear her parents fighting a lot, like late at night. The one thing that her dad was always adamant about was that he wanted to continue to go down to the shed, even with his cane, even with like his disability from having the stroke. He was like adamant in the evenings that he still wanted to go out to the shed, and that was the main source of arguments from her parents. Okay, but then it gets even more bizarre. Eventually, months and months and months later, her dad got pneumonia. He was already declining from his stroke. He ended up passing away. After her dad's passing, Katie, her mom, and her sister ended up moving to a smaller home in the city, but she always wondered about that shed, like she couldn't stop thinking about it. Katie and her sister decided to do some research on the home. Turns out this home had had multiple owners over the last 20 years. Like almost every year, the house was put up for sale and bought by someone else. She tried to contact a couple of the previous owners just to like get more information about why they sold the home, anything odd that happened, whatever. And nobody would talk to her. Everyone, as soon as she started asking, just shut down and refused to speak to her. Except for one woman who said that her husband had also suffered a stroke in the shed. She said to this day she has not returned to the property. She does not intend to, but she knows that there is something evil inside of that shed. What do you all think happened here? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want more spooky stories, then just follow along.
I experienced a glitch in the Matrix, and I need to talk about it because it's actually insane. I'm sure you've probably heard before that we live in a matrix. We live in a simulation. Past, present, and future is all happening at the same time because time is not linear and time is not really real. I've also talked about the fact that consciousness is all one. We are all divinely connected, and separation is just an illusion. Okay. Now keep in mind everything that I just said when I'm about to tell the story. So, about a month ago, I started going on Threads. I started posting a little bit more frequently my thoughts and how I've been feeling, whatever. One of the thoughts that I talked about was actually happening in a week where I was extremely burnt out. I was working a lot, I was tired, and I was just like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing as a society? And basically, in the thread, I said something on the lines of, I'm not lazy, I'm not uneducated, my soul is burnt out. I'm tired of doing this. I basically said how if we all stopped doing this, we'd realize that we don't need to do this anymore and life would get a lot better for all of us. Something on the lines of that. I posted it, it went viral. I think Meta took it down because, I don't know, I guess maybe it was just saying a little bit too much truths. Who knows? I thought nothing of it and then just kept scrolling. Day to day goes by and I see someone else posting the exact same thing I said, top to bottom. Exact words, exact comments, exact grammar, whatever. Obviously, I commented and I was like, hey, I wonder where you got this from. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, but, you know, you didn't have to steal exactly what I said. So then the person was like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never seen your content. Like, I've never seen your stuff. I never even knew you posted this. Like, I actually didn't get it from you. If anything, I got it from someone else who was on Facebook. And I was like, okay, well then that person on Facebook probably copied me because I'm telling you guys, and I would not lie, I wrote this in my own thoughts, in my own car because I was like, I'm frustrated. This guy said, no, I'm telling you, I got it from this person. They posted it a long time ago in like 2024. I'll show you. He ends up getting a screenshot and showing me what the person said, and it was almost exactly to a T what I said. Like, where the sentences were, almost everything was perfect, and I'll show you guys. I'm gonna just let you guys read this here. At first, the top one was the one I wrote, the bottom one was the Facebook one. And it was almost exactly to the T, but that person wrote it in 2024, and I have never seen this in my life. I only use Facebook for, like, Marketplace. And I thought this person maybe made an AI thing. So I deadass searched this person, I searched this girl, and I looked at it, and I'm like, no way, she actually wrote this, and she actually wrote it. Time is not linear. We are all collapsing, and we are all one. The same idea you have, someone on the other side of the world probably had that idea already. It's actually insane. We are all one divine consciousness. You cannot tell me that this shit's real. You can't tell me. Have you guys had this experience? Cause, bro, this is like a crazy glitch in the Matrix for me.
I went on a trip to California that still freaks me out to this day, so I'm gonna tell you all about it. It was August of 2023. My friend and I were going to Disneyland to celebrate my birthday. We flew into California on the 21st, and we were supposed to fly home the 26th. The first night that we were there, it was a normal night. We checked into our hotel, we went to dinner, and then we just went to bed because we had an early day at Disney, and the next day is when stuff started to get really weird. We started our first day off in Disneyland, and we planned to go Disneyland California Adventure for the 4 days that we were there, and we also had park hoppers, but at the time you could only park hop starting at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe. When we got to Disneyland on our first day, I remember that one of the first things we wanted to do was get an energy drink after we had eaten breakfast because we knew we were going to need it to keep our stamina up throughout the day. I was complaining to my friend that they never had any of the Monster flavors that I liked, that I loved the sugar-free watermelon Monsters. They always just had the Ultra Zero Monster or the original black and green Monster, and we kept looking around to see if there was any other options, but sure enough, everywhere we went, those were the two options that they had. So we ended up just buying one of those and moving on with our day. As we continued throughout our first day, we kept seeing twins everywhere. We were kind of laughing it off because it wasn't really that big of a deal, but it was kind of odd because we kept seeing twins that were not only identical twins in the way that they looked, but they also were dressed identical. And it wasn't just the kids, it was the adults also, which was kind of odd. Later that night when we were heading back to our hotel, we wanted to stop at CVS and get some snacks and some travel size toothpaste because we were worried that we were going to run out of the little toothpaste that we did still have left. So we went to CVS and we actually asked a worker if they had a travel section because we could not find a travel section full of mini toiletries anywhere, and the employee that we asked said no, we only have full-sized items, and he showed us where we could go and get toothpaste from, and then we headed back to our hotel for the night. The next day we started our day at California Adventure, and we still kept seeing twins everywhere, and that's when we were starting to get a little freaked out because not only had we seen so many sets of twins the day before, but we were still continuing to see them, and it could have just been one of those things where because we noticed them so much the day before, we were still noticing them, but it definitely stuck out to us more on the second day. And later in the afternoon when we were able to park hop over to Disneyland, we went to Disneyland and we were kind of dragging, so we decided we wanted to get more energy drinks, and the first spot that we went to get an energy drink from had watermelon zero sugar monsters. All of a sudden they had them right after I was complaining that they didn't have them, but I still was just kind of trying to brush it off because I didn't think that it was for me, but it just felt really odd. And as we continued walking, every single area that sold a sugar-free monster, the flavor that they had was watermelon. Everywhere. That was one of the first really weird things that I still will never forget to this day. But then when we were walking back to our hotel that night, we decided to stop at CVS again because we wanted to get more snacks and we wanted to get some water. So we go to CVS and we pick out some snacks, we grab our water, and we go to check out. And as we are walking towards the checkout, there is an entire section full of mini travel toiletries. An entire section. And that I still can't explain it to this day, and it sounds so unbelievable. And we even actually checked our bank accounts to make sure it was CVS that we went to the night before, because there's also a Walgreens across the street, and sure enough, it was CVS. We were at CVS and we had been at CVS the night before, and all of a sudden there was a travel section. The next day was my birthday, and it just didn't really feel like my birthday. The whole vibe just kind of felt off, and the whole day just felt really weird, but nothing super significant happened. My friend did have a ring that she lost the stone in, and I was wearing some earrings and I lost the stone in one of my earrings, which was kind of odd. And we were still seeing twins because that didn't stop our whole entire trip. But other than that, the weird vibe just stuck. The next day we started in California Adventure, so we get to the park and we go to California Adventure to scan in for the day. And when we go to scan in, they tell us that we actually start our day in Disneyland, which we were so confused about because we had double, triple, quadruple checked, and the whole entire time leading up to the trip and while we were on the trip, we knew that our plan was to go Disney, California, Disney, California. So it made no sense to us that on our last day that was supposed to be California Adventure, they were telling us we were supposed to start in Disneyland. So that just kind of threw off the whole day because we were just really confused. Those had not been the plans that we had been looking at over and over and over again. Later that night, as we were walking back to our hotel on our final night in California, I got a notification from our airline that our flight that was supposed to leave Saturday the 26th at 1 p.m. had actually been pushed to later that night, Saturday evening, which was kind of annoying, but it was fine because then we just had more time in California the next day. So we go back to our hotel and we end up just going to bed. And then when we wake up in the morning to pack all of our stuff to get ready to go, I go in the bathroom. I had packed all my clothes and I just had my toiletries. And as I was going to pack my toiletries, I had packed up everything, and then I saw one of my lip glosses on the counter, and I was kind of confused because I didn't think I'd brought that lip gloss. I hadn't used it the whole trip, and it's a lip gloss that I own that really tastes horrible, and I don't even know why I still had it at that point. But I just threw it in my toiletry bag, and then I went in the bedroom again to see if my friend was done packing, and she had told me, yes, I'm done, but you forgot your lip gloss. And I looked at her and I was kind of confused because I was like, well, I just packed a lip gloss, but maybe it's another one. And then she picks it up and hands it to me, and it was the same exact lip gloss that I had just packed, but it was brand new. It had never been open. So I told her, this isn't my lip gloss. I have that lip gloss, but I just packed it. And so I went to grab it out of my toiletry bag to show her that I had already packed it. And all of a sudden there was 2 lip glosses in my toiletry bag. The one that was opened, and then there was another one that was not open that was also brand new in the package. So there was 2 in my toiletry bag. She's holding one. All of a sudden there's 3 of this lip gloss that I absolutely can't even stand. 2 brand new in packages, and 1, my old one that I've clearly used. And that still just freaks me out. It still freaks me out. It makes no sense. And I still have all 3 lip glosses somewhere. After the lip gloss debacle, I ended up getting another notification from the airline that our flight now was not leaving that night, but it was actually delayed until the next morning at that point. So I was super annoyed because we had to get another night in a hotel. We ended up switching hotels, and when we got to the new hotel, I remembered that I had a friend who was actually supposed to be flying into the same airport on the same airline and the same airplane that was supposed to be the airplane we were taking back to Utah. So I texted her and I said, hey, are you having issues with your flight also? And then she texts me back right away and said, I'm going to call you. It has been an absolute shit show. She calls me and tells me that Friday night they had been getting texts about their flight being moved up on Saturday morning, so they ended up going to the airport early Saturday morning to see what the heck was going on. And when they got there, they're told, yes, your flight has been moved up. So eventually they boarded the plane on the earlier flight, and they ended up unboarding everyone just minutes later because the flight had less than half the passengers on it. And then 2 hours later they boarded them again, and then they took off with still less than half the passengers because the flight was leaving early, which does not happen. This whole situation was so confusing to us at the time, and it's probably confusing to you as you are listening, and it still to this day does not really make sense to me, and I can't wrap my head around what exactly even happened. But my friend and her husband landed in California, and she actually talked to the pilot because she was still leaving the plane, and the pilot says, yes, this plane is going back to Utah in 20 minutes, and it probably is the flight your friend is supposed to be on because it's the only flight leaving this weekend, and then we don't have any other flights until next week. So the plane takes off. We're not on it. Lots of people also weren't on it because not only did it leave early, but everyone's apps are still showing them that it's delayed until Sunday. I also called Orange County Airport to see if they knew anything that was going on because I couldn't get a hold of the airline, and they told me that they also could not get a hold of the airline. And not only that, but there was no airline employees at the airline's desk, and air traffic control was not seeing any of their planes in the sky. What the hell? Later that night, I checked the airline app again, and sure enough, it shows us as checked in, and then the flight completely disappeared off of the app not too long after that because according to the airline, we were on that flight safe and sound back in Utah, even though we are still in California. So the next day, we ended up renting a car and driving home because flights were way too expensive. And that's pretty much the whole entire story. I'm no longer friends with the girl that I went on that trip with, and I kind of, looking back on it, think that maybe that was the universe's way of telling me that weird things happen when I'm with this chick and I probably shouldn't keep hanging out with her.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
This is the story of how a demon boy made my city shake. Now, I tried to stitch the creator's original video about ghost stories, but the sound and everything is messed up, so she put this one up to give people a better chance of trying to tell their story. So I never told many people this story, but when I tried to record it, it kept not recording the audio, so now I'm gonna give you the story. So the year is 2011. I'm between 11 and 12 years old. Me and my mom and my brother were living with my aunt and her daughters, who so happen to be black witches. That's a different story. Let me know if y'all want me to get into that. Didn't find this out until after everything that happened. So just a little bit of a backstory. I would play a lot with the youngest daughter. She was a few years older than me, but me and her would spend a lot of time together. The older daughter lived upstairs. She would interact with us, we would have fun and everything like that, but she kind of lived her own life. So this is the way that the house is set up so you can understand the story. We're living in a duplex, right? That's when it's a full home that's cut into 2 levels, and then each level is technically an apartment. So if you come in through the front door, there was an additional front door as soon as you come in, and there's steps that go up. The steps that go up is our upstairs neighbor's house. We don't interact with her. And when you come into the house, you get the living room, dining area, kitchen, and basement is our house. Now, it's only 3 rooms in there, and we're all kind of sharing rooms. So this is how it started. It started with my aunt, right? She had her bedroom door open while she was asleep, and she heard somebody whispering her name at the door. We'll say her name is Deborah because she passed away. So she hears, Deborah, Deborah, at her door. She hears it, she disregards it, she says, leave me alone, right? Rolls over, goes to sleep. Now, my aunt, she couldn't use her arms were completely paralyzed because she had ALS. So the youngest daughter stayed in the bedroom across from her, so she had, easy access to come and help her mom whenever she wanted to. So then my cousin says that she heard somebody walking up the basement steps towards the top floor in the middle of the night, and she thought it was my mom coming to check on her mom. But my mom was in the room with me. Now, I was the last one up in the house because I was watching a movie. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was watching a movie on a laptop, so the movie had just went off. My mom's asleep on the floor with her boyfriend on the air mattress. I'm sleeping on the couch next to them. The entire wall next to this couch is a mirror, right? Now, the house was already a lot of freaky shit going on in that house, and we had played hide and go seek in the house before, and we played it in the dark, and I saw a little boy in the dark, and he was staring at me, and I was staring at him, and I got freaked out, and I quit the game. My mom had also seen a little boy peeking in the room after she got out of the shower. She seen him in the mirror, right? Was no little boy in the house. And my cousins had told me, jokingly, it's a little boy in here and he likes you, right? This is all over a series of events. Let me know if y'all want those stories. So on this particular night, I'm up, it's pitch black in here, right? So I'm like, okay, it's about time for me to go to sleep. I'm scared. So I go to lay down, but I don't want to look in the mirror because I'm scared I'm going to see something, right? So I get under the covers and I'm facing like the inside of the couch. Now I didn't hear any doors open, but I heard someone start to walk into the room. Like you could hear the depression on the wood, like you could hear the creaking in the steps, and it sounded like some pretty big feet. Like we had a dog in the house. So I'm like, is it the dog? No, because you can hear the when the dog. It was not a dog. It was some solid feet walking on the ground, right? So I'm scared. My heart's pounding. I'm holding my breath, right? Because I'm just listening. Mind you, these footsteps are about 4 feet away from me. So it's 4 feet away from me and I'm hearing it, right? Then I hear them come around. I hear the footsteps come around the bottom of my mom's air mattress that's on the floor. Then I hear like a little, like, it sounds like the rubber from the air mattress is like rubbing against the floor a little bit, like they were moving around in the air mattress or whatever. I didn't think nothing of that point. But he did bring up to her that following morning, he was pissed off because he was like, why were you pulling on my foot trying to wake me up? And she was like, how the hell would I be pulling on your foot if we're laying face to face? So I hear that little sound, and the footsteps come around the air mattress to my side, right? Now the footsteps are literally like right here, still under the covers. Eyes wide open, I'm not asleep. Eyes are wide open, holding my breath, heart pounding, and all I could hear is these steps, right? And then it gets silent, gets dead silent. The covers start to depress down onto me, and I swear to God on my life, this is the closest experience I've ever had with a ghost. And my heart is pounding. I'm under the covers, and all on this side of my face, I felt the breath flow off of my face. I heard it in my ear. Oh my God, when I tell y'all I freaked the fuck out, I threw the covers back. I'm sitting up, instant panic attack. Panicking, screaming, crying. My mom gets up. She's like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, no, something's breathing on me. Something's breathing in my ear. She's like, no, it's a nightmare. It's a bad dream. I'm like, no, I'm not going to sleep. This is not a nightmare. Like, I'm freaking out, crying, tears. Like, she had to get up, cut the lights on, all of that, and try to be like, it's just a dream. We're not going to talk about it or whatever, because she had a feeling something was going on too, but she didn't want to give it any attention. So the next day we're standing in my aunt's room, right? It's a hot day, it's summertime, so we're standing there, we got the door open. And we're talking about the series of events that happened the night before, where we're kind of like putting it all together, like, okay, something was walking around this house. So my mom lifts up her shirt, and she's, she just standing there like this because it's hot, she's sweating. She lifts up her shirt, and then she was like, because she said it felt like something was stinging on her stomach, because she looked down and she had 3 claw marks going across her stomach, thin claw marks, right? So we're looking at that like, what? Maybe it was an accident. Did you scratch yourself with your ring? Whatever, right? In the middle of talking about this, she looks at my older cousin's back while her back is turned, and she has 3 claw marks down her back. She didn't even feel them on her back. So we're looking like, how'd you get this on your back? Whatever, whatever. So everybody else gets to looking around, right? Trying to see what's up with them. My cousin, who was closer to my age, she had 3 claw marks from her knee to her ankle on her right leg. My aunt, who couldn't use her arms at all and was in bed all night, had a burn mark, like a cigarette burn, all the way underneath her boob, like somebody put out a cigarette on her skin. I believe my mother's boyfriend had scratches like on his foot or his ankle, and I didn't have any scratches, right? While we're talking about how this shit's weird, the shades start swaying. So then my mom stops talking and she looks at me. We look at each other and we look at the dog, because the dog was scratching, right? So we're like, maybe it was the vibration from the dog, whatever, trying to write it off, right? She keeps talking. Then the whole fucking dresser starts shaking. So we look at each other again, and the whole house, everything in that bitch, everything is swinging back and forth, and oh my God, it was crazy. My mom slings open the front door. She's like, stand in the doorway, stand in the doorway. So I'm standing in the doorway, and in the doorway, I'm looking directly into the mirror, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, freaking the fuck out while the house is shaking, and my mom is behind me with the front door open like, this is not your house. You gotta get out of here. You don't have no rights over nobody in this house. Like, she's trying to banish the demon out of this bitch, right? I'm like, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no way this is real. So it stops, right? My cousins run up from downstairs. They're like, what's going on? Like, I thought I was just getting dizzy, about to pass out. Like, what's going on? My mom goes outside. There's other people outside. She's like, did y'all feel that? Did y'all feel that? Everybody's like, yeah, what the fuck? What was that? For the first time in the history that I've heard of in Baltimore, there was an earthquake. There was an earthquake during that conversation about the demon scratches in our house the night before. Everybody else who I asked, like, what were y'all doing during the earthquake? Like, what was going on that day? They were asleep, on the toilet. I'm the only one that was reminiscing on a motherfucking demonic attack before it made the fucking city shake. Okay, I'm not gonna attribute it to the spirit, but just know a lot of crazy shit happened after that. A lot of sleepwalking, a lot of nightmares, a lot of seeing shit, hearing shit. A lot of stories came from that time period. So let me know if y'all want to hear a lot of crazy shit that happened when I was living with some witches. But yeah, I don't really know, but that's my ghost story.
If you've ever experienced a glitch in the matrix or just have any type of creepy or unexplained phenomenon that you think is spiritually motivated or paranormally charged, definitely go ahead and send it into the email. I want to hear your stories, and so do the rest of the hoodlums here on the channel. So go ahead and send it into my email for a chance for it to be featured right here on the channel for Mystic Monday. And of course, if you enjoyed tonight's compilation, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because why are you here and not subscribed? Like, I don't understand what you're doing, baby. And if you want to take it a step further, go ahead and join the channel as a member. That way you can enjoy all of the members only videos, all of the perks that come along with it, such as live access, as well as a free one reading a month with yours truly. Because if you guys have been on any of the lives or watched any of the members only videos, y'all know y'all definitely get to see my personality come through, as well as get all of the great spiritual nuggets and education that come along with it. Because of course I love to give you guys things here, but certain things, with me being a hoodoo practitioner, obviously got to be on the low. So go ahead and join the channel so you can really be a part of the hoodlum family and get the real deal Holyfield of what's going on in these spiritual streets. So hit that subscribe button or join the channel and become a member. And I know you enjoy everything here on the channel, but remember, sometimes the ghosts are actually watching you. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here so I can edit this one and get another one out for you guys, because there's much more to come. So with that being said, make sure that you drink your water, mind your business, and stay prayed up and protected. And as always, Luna loves you. I'll be back with another video for you guys if the spirits allow it.
Take that from me when I give that back. Wait, give it right back. Did they give it right back? This up, baby, can I sit right back? Wanna give it right back, baby? Yeah, like that.